Good. I would like to welcome everybody to the Public Works Committee meeting. It is Tuesday, November 5th, 2024, and everybody should have voted or is going to vote. And the time is 2:34. Present here today is Councilman Vincent Pelisi. We have Chris Black, our IT person, Janice Frank, our city clerk. We have Chief Snyder, Assistant Chief Jason Bolt, and my icon isn't working, so I can't see. Am I forgetting anybody up here? I don't think so.
I'm here, Valerie Fessler. Melanie is here also.
Thank you. I was able now to see it. Okay, Melanie and the grant writer and Valerie with community development. We're waiting for Chief Onks, but what we're going to do is we're going to switch this agenda around a little bit. Today there are eight items on the agenda, and we're going to go to number 2, resolution authorizing a design change order with Larson to replace traffic signal at 4th and Mulberry Street. Mr. Scott, you are up.
Okay, good afternoon, committee members. So yes, this is for a change order to a previous agreement. Larson Design has been involved with the traffic signal design. We're replacing the signal at 4th and Mulberry. To my knowledge, I've learned this has been ongoing work in that area for about 10 years. It's part of the old City Gateway project and a streetscape on 4th Street and things down that area. So this traffic signal replacement is funded by a Green Light Go grant. Part of that is required 20% match. The city's required to pay that match. Since Larson Design Group has done the design, and they're the design experts on this traffic signal replacement, we need some professional help with the construction administration and inspection, and there was a bidding for that as well. And this would be a good fit for them since they were the design engineer, and also this would fulfill our match requirement for the grant program. So that's pretty much the background on that. The amount is should mention that. This amount is $26,500.
Vince, do you have any questions?
No, not at this time. It seems pretty clear cut. Not to exceed the total cost. Something that we've been working on for quite a while.
Yeah, it's been ongoing for quite a few years, and we're kind of under the gun. It needs to be built by May of next year, which we're on time to do that. We're on track to do that. This project was kind of stalled out. To be honest with you, I think when I came on board, I found out it was kind of stalled out for various reasons, and got it back to life. It's designed. It was put out the bid. Traw Electric's going to be the contractor. As you know, we awarded it. I think that was last month. We awarded it at the council meeting. So we're moving forward to get this going and get this built.
Yeah, Bonnie, it seems pretty clear cut to me. Just doing some curb ramps and traffic signal. So.
Same here. Truthfully, I'm a little bit surprised at the inexpensiveness of the traffic light. I mean, the curb cuts really aren't that much, but the traffic light, I was really surprised because I thought they were more money than that. I don't know why. I guess going through, so many of these. But anyhow, it's going into, going forward, terrific, because we would all like to see that done and over with. So I see Chief Ongst is here. Chief Ongst, we're going to go up to you at this point. You are up to resolution authorizing an agreement between WBF and Whitmire Buick Chevrolet.
Okay, first of all, I want to apologize. We're working some things here, and then when I went to log on, I had to do an update for Zoom, so I apologize. The resolution before you is to purchase a 2024 Chevy Silverado 1500. It's exactly the same as the previous one that we had purchased, I believe, a month ago. This one will replace the 2005 Ford Expedition that is currently being used by the inspector. The current basically, we're just swapping some vehicles, but this new truck will be replacing the 2005 Ford Expedition. And the sale of this, or the purchase of it, will come from the sale of engine one.
Oh, like somebody dumped it. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, 'cause we typically,
Any questions?
yeah.
Vince, do you have any questions?
Again, it's pretty clear cut. Yeah.
I see
No,
no
good
problem.
question.
Like you said, Chief, it's, we're using money from the sale of the engine, so.
Right.
So there's nothing, is there anything coming out of a line item at all?
No. Well,
okay.
it would, I believe you'd have to ask Jamie, but I believe that this line item is on the I'm not exactly sure. It was like out of the capital projects budget. That they had deposited that money from the sale of engine one.
Okay, well, I can ask Jamie, okay, see about it.
Yeah.
Next item on the agenda is, if there's no other questions from anybody else, I'm sorry. Next item would be, resolution authorizing an agreement between WBF and Charles J. Mertes. Okay, Chief.
So this is for, we recently were awarded a grant through the Pennsylvania State Fire Commissioner's Office. It's the Pennsylvania Municipal Fire Department Capital Grant. And what our plan is, we purchased a 20 by 20 shed, and it's insulated. We are planning on moving stuff from our stock room out to that shed, and we'd like to have that heated so that in the winter time it doesn't, the condensation stuff doesn't rust, that kind of thing. So we did have True Grade put a gas line in, and Chuck Murtis is able to do the work. He was the low bidder. I believe we had gotten one other quote for that, but and that's for the amount of $2,953.11, and that will be coming out of the money from that grant.
Okay, Vince, do you have any questions?
No, Chief mentioned that they, it went out to bid. We only got two. This was the lowest responsible bidder. Again, everything seems pretty clear cut. Real quick, Chief, and I don't want to take up a lot of your time. I know you're busy. What are you going to be housing in this shed again?
So we have a lot of spare equipment, like
Fans, appliances.
fans, fittings for the trucks, for the hose, that kind of stuff.
Oil dry.
Some oil dry, a whole host of different things. So the plan is to take that stock room, that we call it, and turn that into a training room.
Okay.
Chief, how big is the shed?
The shed is 20 by 20.
And you're still using the fire hall down by Reach Road, right? You're still using?
We still have that for some equipment. Right now it's, we have our urban search and rescue up there, and we have, generally we store an engine up there. But right now we're down 2 engines, so they should be coming within a month to a month and a half, ready to go.
What engine is being stored there? Is that an engine that's going to be sold or? Is
No, it would, all of the equipment that is going to be sold has been sold. However, we do still have engine 2-1, which is the 2000 Pierce. That is, that we're running front line right now. So that's taking the place of engine 1 temporarily until the new trucks come.
I know you want to get out of here quickly, but I do have a quick question. The reason I'm
Sure.
asking about that, that firehouse is because at one point there was a lot of mold in there. How is that being addressed? Is there still a lot of mold in there?
I don't believe so. Is
In
it?
the basement, the dehumidifier's been keeping up with it a little bit.
Okay, I was told that down in the basement, there's some mold. But the dehumidifier has been keeping up with it.
Nobody is in that building that long then, right?
No.
Okay. Okay, just wanted to double check. Hey, does anybody else have any questions from the administration at all? If not, okay. Chief, we have just one more item here.
Okay.
Okay, resolution authorizing agreement between WBF and True Grade Excavating and Hauling.
Okay, so True Grade, they were in here, they had gotten the bid to do the excavating, prep work for putting the shed down. In addition to that, we wanted to run electric out there and gas. And, for us to be able to do that, we'd have to do a cut in the macadam across the parking lot. And then, run the buried conduit for the electric and the gas. So that's what we would, and again, that would come out of that same, municipal capital or municipal fire department capital grant. In the amount of $4,215.36.
Vince, any questions?
No, again, it seems pretty clear cut. If you're gonna have a outbuilding like that, you need to have some electrical there for lighting and other things necessary for it too, so. Okay.
Yeah,
Now the fact that it's coming from a grant. It also happy to hear with as tight as everybody's finances are right now.
That is for sure. Okay, so when will this be done? When are they going to start with the electric and gas?
I believe the gas they will start with, when is that? Well, as soon as it gets approved, I guess. We'll
Okay.
get that installed and, the electric they do have run out there.
And this is going to free up space in the firehouse, right?
Yes. It's, going to another room that's about, what size would you say that is? Probably about 16 by 20, maybe.
Okay, so you're getting like 4 more feet here. with
Yeah,
the shed,
roughly.
Which is great, which is great. And you know that'll be filling up fast.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
I don't care
for
if it's your
sure.
house or whatever. Well, I see this space, it gets filled up. Okay, if nobody else from the administration has any questions, Chief, go get them. Okay.
All right, appreciate
And
it.
stay
Thank
safe,
you, guys.
okay?
Yeah,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Okay, next item on the agenda is we're gonna go back up to the top. Mr. Scott, resolution for PennDOT maintenance signal agreement. Mr. Scott, are you there?
Sorry, I've been talking to myself. I was muted. Oh, I just said some good stuff too. Let me start over. Wow. So a couple weeks ago, we had PennDOT District 3 out here to look at a couple traffic signals. We've had some complaints about timing, especially at 3rd and Basin. We took a look at that and we adjusted it. It was doing something really strange. It was coming west. it was going green when there's no cars there. You know, there's radar, there's cameras, all that. It's supposed to pick up and sense when there's traffic, and that's how it all operates, you know, based on cues and things. But it shouldn't have been doing that. So we eliminated that, which gained some more time on a couple other you know, left turns. People were getting backed up, I think, coming from 4th to 3rd, trying to make the left on East Market. We had some complaints about that. So we gained some time on that and haven't heard anything since. So maybe that solved it. But anyways, PennDOT District 3, an engineer there, informed me that we, as all municipalities, need to have a traffic signal maintenance agreement with PennDOT. It's required by law. All municipalities in the state have this. We did not have one. As you may know, PennDOT, well, we're responsible for the maintenance of our traffic signals, but PennDOT needs to come out when we get into synchronizing, timing, things like that. We cannot go out and just change timing and synchronization on our own. We're not allowed to do that. We have to have PennDOT engineers come out and do that. This is just pretty much an agreement that establishes that. Pretty much. I sent this to Austin, our solicitor. He reviewed it. Yeah. Let's see what else I got here. There's no cost. There's no cost involved with this at all. But that's pretty much where this came from. We have permits for all of our signals, and you have to have this agreement with PennDOT to have your signals permitted. And if you want to make any changes to any of your signals involving timing, because they're the ones that do that. I hope that made some sense.
The one thing that there are a couple of things here. When John Markley was with Streets and Parks, I was calling him several times because of the timing of Campbell and 3rd. Okay.
What street, Bonnie? What street?
Campbell and 3rd.
Okay.
The reason for that, I'm sorry, not 3rd, 4th. I'm sorry, Campbell and 4th.
Okay.
The bus stop was across the street, and there were several people from the high rise with wheelchairs, walkers, whatever, trying to cross the street, and the lights changed too fast for them. So John would go and he'd check the time, he talked to PennDOT, and there was no way of alleviating that, which was really kind of, these people were getting kind of frightened because they were afraid they're going to get hit by cars and stuff. So
Right.
that never did get solved. So going through this and reading this, my questions is, first of all, personally identifiable information means individual's name, address, photograph. On page 2, what is that all about?
Let's see here. Page 2. Yeah. I didn't read it all that close yet. Like I said, I passed it on to a solicitor.
I just thought it was strange that they wanted all this kind of information.
Yeah, I don't know. Terms, Steele's name, address. I'm sure this is some kind of complaint that comes up. I mean, we obviously didn't get anything like that from what we were doing. Yeah, I'm not sure. Just some kind of definition for the contract is what that is.
That's what
That's all it is. Just the definition.
Okay. And just when you see Social Security number, they want that and so much information. You kind of
I don't know.
Bill, would you be able to reach out and get some clarification on that requirement for Thursday?
Yep.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The other question that I have is on page 4 under when a new traffic signal is under 3. It says here traffic signal transfers to the municipality upon end of a 30-day test period in writing. PennDOT owns all the lights, right? We just maintain it, right?
Right.
Okay. So if there's anything that goes on, if the maintenance is not, if our maintenance is challenged, I guess that's what I'm gonna say. Whose fault would it be if something is wrong with the traffic light?
Well, as you said, we're responsible for maintaining them. I mean, we are, we have Let's Electric does most of our work in the city
Okay,
when it comes to our signals.
but they don't do, and because I was going through all this and some of it, it truthfully goes over my head. Some contracts, I mean, it's interesting how many words they can put in one sentence that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Uh, the thing, like I said to you, do they have different timing for different areas? I guess that's what I'm asking. I can remember years ago, the police chief at that point, he said if you went a certain amount, I'm just gonna say this, 16 miles an hour, you could hit all green lights all the way down 4th Street, okay?
Right. Right.
Does anything, how is this all justified with, if they're, like I'm asking about the handicap people trying to cross the street? Can those numbers be reset if it's taken to PennDOT? If there's a problem?
Yeah, that's exactly what we just did. Like I said, with Third and Basin, we called PennDOT District 3 over their signal engineers, and we stood out there and watched it, observed it, and they did make an adjustment in the field to the timing. So yeah,
See, they
we
didn't do
can't.
that years ago. They gave John a hard time.
Well, like I said, we're not allowed to do it. We had to have PennDOT come out.
Right, right.
That's part of this agreement. The timing. We can't do it. They do it.
And hopefully they will, do things like you said, you already did that. But I just find it interesting, all the are all the lights in the city PennDOT owned?
My understanding is yes, we're responsible for maintenance.
So every a traffic light in the city is PennDOT owned.
Yeah,
They
They're-
are.
I mean,
That's a
we're,
good question.
I mean, that's one question I never asked before, and I'd be curious to know if there's any way you can find that out.
yeah. Let me
I
clarify
know
that.
it maybe sounds like a stupid question, but you just, it's just one of those things, and I know you have a lot on your plate.
Let me get the legal clarification. And I'll get back to you on that.
Okay,
I know we're obviously responsible for maintenance of them, but yeah.
okay. Okay, if there is no other questions from anybody, Mr. Scott, I thank you very much, and we'll see you Thursday, okay?
Yep. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is resolution authorizing professional service agreement between WBP and Center for Community Resources for Co-Responder Program. Assistant Chief Bolt, are you there?
I am. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Chief Bolt.
So this is a professional service agreement between us and CCR, Center for Community Resources, to both train and supply us with a mental health co-responder that's going to work alongside the police department to assist us in providing services to persons suffering from a mental health crisis. They will also help. The mental health professional will be stationed at our department and will mobilize when necessary to the scene and help provide services and give persons who need it more access to behavioral health and assist the officers with everything they need to do during these cases. The funding for this will be through the current PCCD grant that we have, and it's funded through December of 2025. And it's, I believe, in the amount of not to exceed $70,000. So this agreement was reviewed by Austin White. And I believe that should cover most of the details for that. I'll open up to any questions you would have.
Vince, any questions?
Yeah, good afternoon, Chief.
Good afternoon, sir.
Real quick, it's not to exceed the amount of $70,000. When I had scanned through this before, I didn't actually see a payment schedule. It's not to exceed $70,000 for services. What is it, like they bill out at $125 an hour, not to exceed 70,000 or?
So if you look at page 2 for payment and rate inclusions, so the agreement for her, for the person that's going to be in that position, it's $20.74 per hour. And if you look up at payment there, it's payment.
Here it is.
Yeah, upon submission of itemized invoices detailing the services rendered and hours worked, and it's by month.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
All
I
right.
must have gone right over it. Yep.
Yeah.
2074 an hour, not to exceed 70,000. Okay.
And that's how we kind of come up with that, plus any extra additional expenses such as ballistic vest, and certain other criteria. And that's all been taken care of.
Okay. Yeah. No, I don't have any questions. I think that this is certainly going to be helpful. It's unfortunate, but you see it more prevalent in today. People that are suffering from mental crises or issues, and having the appropriate resources and training how to deal with those situations.
Absolutely. And to make it safer for the persons who are suffering from that crisis, as well as the officers and the community at large. It's just going to be, it's part of the evolution of policing that we all need to see. We also, not only do we have one, but I believe like Cumming Regional Police has also employed one as well. And you're going to see this throughout communities and police departments in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania and the United States. It's going to be the norm. So I want to make sure that we're ahead of the game.
I appreciate it. And I did have one more question for you here.
Sure.
As it responds to, or as it is by the Center for Community Resources to implement the mental health co-responder, the odds of interacting with somebody that is on the spectrum, autistic persons in today's society are vastly more increased than they were, say, 10, 20 years ago. So does this also cover that? If the law enforcement were having an interaction with somebody that might be autistic and nonverbal, is this person also, this also helps? Okay.
So it's not even just crisis persons that have, maybe in a mental or behavioral health emergency, but also it ties into the other resources that are provided by CCR, as well as other resources that would touch on that. So she could also be available to help when we have a person who may need a little extra through veterans assistance or other social services. It's basically adding a person that's not only versed in mental health response, but also a bit of social work on the side. So, and it will train officers to be better at those responses as well. So there's also an education proponent to it. And I believe Chief Snyder would also probably want to speak on this.
No, I was just going to share with you, Mr. Pelizzi, that we brought that training for autism to the department to train the officers already. And we're just going to build off of that as well. So good question.
Yeah. Good question.
Yep. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it. As somebody who has nonverbal family members, it's good to know.
Chief Bolt, what happens when, where do they take these people that are having mental problems? Where do they go?
As it stands right now, we don't have a lot of local resources for when somebody actually needs to be admitted for crisis. Currently, right now, one of the few places we have is the emergency room at UPMC. I believe that they're also have a place within CCR that will be taking some folks as well. But they're working on having more facilities and more ways to respond to this. Good, Chief.
Yeah, I was gonna add to, Ms. Katz, that there is no one place to go for everybody. So there's gonna be an assessment done. There'll be a crisis response. There'll be a mental health assessment to see what help that individual subject needs. And based off of the needs that they need, we are gonna seek out, and this co-responder will seek out the specialist in that particular field for that person. So there might be a couple places that they may go to, but we are working on more resources and building relationships and collaboration with those resources. And CCR has been a big help with that.
So therefore, say that our officers come across somebody with this problem, they will be taken somewheres where they are safe and
Yes.
immediately. I mean,
Yes.
they're starting to work on this at this point.
Yes. So the idea behind it is a lot of the issues that we're dealing with are an arrest is not going to fix the issue. So we're trying to use other means to get that person that needs that help and try to find what it is that they need us that service for, because making an arrest is not going to be the answer for everybody, and just putting them in jail even on a temporary basis is not getting them the actual help they need. So this program is going to allow us to get the help that they need to fix the issues that they are suffering from.
I can see where there would be some people that would be, it would be very bad for them to be put in a cell because of what they're dealing with mentally. And that's why I'm asking if there's going to be a safe place for these people. Because, I think we've all known people throughout our lives that they need help. They need help. And when it reaches a point of, when you're starting to hurt yourself and other people, it's scary. It really is scary. And a lot of people don't know how to deal with this. So I'm really happy. The education of our officers, this is going to be an ongoing training period for them?
Yes, this is going to, yeah, personally, this is a little bit of opinion you're getting from me here, but I think you're going to see the law enforcement institution. Pretty soon, we're going to be a bunch of mental health experts with what we're getting right now. So we're putting the training in place, and it's almost like you want to work yourself out of a co-responder program almost to a degree, but we don't have that training right now. So that's why we need an agreement like this, so we can get that training, get that proper care that's needed. But the way the mental health issue has been growing over the last few years, policing is headed in that direction where we're going to be a bunch of mental health specialists.
Because I know, having a business downtown, you get to know some of the people that we call locals, and you feel bad for them. You really do, because their problems are just so overcoming at times that you don't know how to deal with it. And you're trying to be kind, but it's a challenge. It really is. So I'm happy to hear this, because I could see where this has been a problem from the downtown, for me anyhow.
Yes.
And it's and I don't think people are aware of these problems at times, and it's something that I think is very much needed. So I'm happy you're going into this kind of a program. Melanie, Valerie, do you have any questions about this?
No, we were just joining today because we had the opportunity to join Chief Snyder and Chief Bolt in the conversations with CCR, and Melanie is currently administering the back end of the grant. So we were just really here in support of their resolution, and if they had any detailed questions about the grant. Thanks, Bonnie, for asking.
You're quite welcome. If nobody else has any.
Bonnie, I did.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, especially why Melanie and Valerie are here, and Chiefs, you might be able to shed some light on this too. So the funding for this, we received through the PCCD grant, and that'll get us all the way up through December 31st of next year. Do we have any idea what that potential looks like for getting that grant funding again?
I can.
Okay.
Chief, do you want me to?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. That's a great question.
Yes.
In the initial conversation that Chief Snyder and Chief Bolt and I had with CCR, the Lycoming County mental health folks were in that conversation and had shared with us that this was a priority for them as well, and for this to continue, and that they would be willing to put aside funding to cover this position to continue after that grant ended. My understanding of the current PCCD grant is that it's not an annual or a every 3 or 4 years type thing that we can apply for. This particular grant was put together with a lot of excess funding post-COVID and through other grant sources that was unspent. It was a sort of a unique opportunity for law enforcement agencies to put together a lot of different priorities. A lot of the grants that we see are specific to maybe school resource officer or opioid epidemic, or very specific, where this one is kind of a mismatch of some really wonderful priorities that the chiefs were able to put together. So my long story short is we don't have any information at this point that tells us that by the end of 2025 that we will have a grant opportunity specific to this available, but we have had ongoing conversations with Lycoming County Mental Health, Keith Wagner, and the Joinder, who are willing to make sure that they have funding available for us to continue this program.
Okay, good to know, good to hear. I appreciate that. This seems like a really beneficial position, something that we could certainly use, and hopefully, the hope is I hope this person gets very bored because we have fewer and fewer interactions. But the reality of the situation is that there is a need. So to try and make sure that we have the funding for this person is definitely a priority. But again, going back to the reality of the situations is with as tight as fiscally as we are, we have to make sure that we are preparing and looking at everything to make sure we can afford things. So knowing that you've already had those conversations and that they're looking to put funding aside, identifying this as such a priority is really, really, I'm really happy to hear that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? If there's no other questions, we're going to go to the last item on the agenda, which is any related items.
No, Bonnie, I think we missed item 4, resolution authorizing contract between.
Oh my goodness, it's sitting right
DOT
in
and
front of me.
Excel
I'm
Canine.
sorry. I am so sorry. And this is one that's dear to my heart here. Resolution authorizing contract between Williamsport Bureau of Police and XL Canine Service Incorporated. I am so sorry. Go ahead, Chief.
Okay, so yeah, this is a contract with XL Canine out of Ohio. The contract is for them to supply us and to train a canine and a canine handler. I believe it's 6 to 10 weeks is the length of the training, but it's one single purpose canine that they're going to supply us with. It's a golden lab, and it will be trained in explosives detection as well as tracking. And this is obviously different than the 2 current canine dogs that we have now, which are drug detection, apprehension, and tracking. So this dog will uniquely be able to be utilized more for community events and community relations. The money for this was raised through donations wholly. So this is no cost again to the city. And this also has been reviewed by our solicitor, Austin White. And I'll open it up to any questions.
Vince, any questions?
Yeah, well, Chief, I'm really happy to hear that this was all money that was raised through donations. So it's going to be a golden retriever lab.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, primarily layman's terms, a bomb detection dog, explosives detection dog. And then any idea of, so the money to purchase the dog, purchase the training, I'm assuming you already have the officer.
Yes.
In mind who's going to be the canine officer. What about continued funding for the training for the position for the canine? Do we have any-
My understanding is similar to what we currently do. We will continue to pursue donations that fund any of the extra expenses that we have for the
Okay.
canine officers.
I
Okay,
can jump in with a little additional information,
Great.
Chief Bolt, if you would like me to do that.
Please.
A portion of the purchase of this was funded through a grant that we wrote earlier this year. I think it covered probably 1/3 of the expenses for this. This year, the chiefs really upped the National Night Out event that they were doing and went out and got sponsorships for the event from local businesses. And we were able to, after expenses, bring in between $4,000 and $5,000 to go towards this. So we anticipate that that event will probably be an annual event and that the proceeds of that event will continue to support this. In addition to that, Melanie has identified through working with Senator Yall's office some grant opportunities specific to canine units and specific to explosion detection dogs that could potentially help with operating and continued training. So I feel like this is a really great example of what President Yoder said was low-hanging fruit that he wanted the grants administrator to focus on. You know, this is one of those big DCNR grants that we work with Delta on. This was just a little $7,500 grant that Captain Ottaviano and I were able to write in an afternoon. It really got this moving forward. So I think we'll have good continued support of this program.
really happy to hear that. Yep, yep. Okay. No, I have no other questions. Thank you very much.
I would like to go a little backstory here. I was part of getting the canine program back up and running with Chief Hagan. Previous chiefs really didn't want to have anything to do with any kind of canine. And when we brought this up, when I started working on this, my objective was that it would never be a line item, that it should all come from funding. We all know that this is another officer with fur, and they're just, very important for the safety of our officers and what they can accomplish. And to make sure that this is constantly going after funding, it's, I really would not like to see it go back to a line item. In fact, when we were working on this, when I was working on this with Chief Hagan, that was one of the things that people on council were saying. They did not want to see this funded with a line item and coming out of a police budget. So if we can keep on going after grants and also events to bring in money, all the better. Now, I have to ask about, why are you going to Ohio? Weren't we using a training facility in Pennsylvania?
Not sure. I know that this was the one that was selected. I believe this is what had the qualifications that were necessary. And we'll be able to give you more detailed information on that on Thursday, should you need it.
Yeah,
Chief,
we were using a company in Pennsylvania. I
it
really
was
don't.
Kettle Creek.
Thank you. And and the other question I have with the way this goes with the canine, they're supposed to be constantly being trained. And I think at one point we were also working with a trainer with another municipality to save on cost. Did that go by the boards, or
No,
did
we
anything happen?
still are. We're still dealing with the trainers and PA. This is a different kind of dog though. So we had to go to another facility for this particular type of dog. It's not a drug dog. So, but we're still dealing with the other training facility as well. So it's just going to be an additional one.
Which I can understand, because, and the other thing too, the cost will total about $12,800. Does this also include, how are you outfitting the vehicles with this?
This all comes from the donations that we received.
No, the vehicles, I know specifically that the vehicles had to be cooling devices and different things put in the car.
Again, this comes from the grant and all the donations that we've procured.
Well, how many vehicles are you using? I know you have two canines, so are there two cars that are
We're gonna have 3 canine vehicles.
gonna, that's where I'm
Yep.
getting.
Yep.
And the $12,800 is going to cover that extent, or are we going after funding for that?
We continue to go after funding, but with the additional upfits that you need specialized for a canine vehicle, that's the funding that we procure is gonna go towards that. So we already have a vehicle. We don't have to procure the vehicle. We already have the vehicle. We just gotta do the upfits.
I think
So-
people don't understand that
Bonnie-
you have to have a cooling device underneath the car. That if the car is running, standing still, that cooling device has got to go on. From what I
Bonnie,
understand.
Correct.
Yes.
I think, Bonnie, that we already have 2 canines and we already have 2 canine vehicles that are completely outfitted for those canines. And that
Right.
they've procured enough funding to outfit and upfit this 3rd vehicle for
That is
the
correct.
canine, that they've gotten enough donations to not only purchase the canine, train the officer, but also upfit the vehicle.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
That's what I was questioning, Chief.
That's what I thought you were getting at. I just figured I'd try and help get us there. Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I wanted to make sure, that there was enough money to do the total package. And have you chosen the officer yet?
Yes,
No, there were a couple of officers that are chomping at the bit to go after this.
yes, we chose the officer.
Fantastic.
So
It's a fantastic.
we're gonna do a media release and here in the near future with it all, with the new canine and the canine officer.
What is the name of the new officer? The
It's
canine.
gonna
officer.
be P.O. Garbrick.
Say that again.
P.O. Garbrick.
Okay. All right, that's a mouthful. Okay, any other questions? And Melanie, please go after more funding if you can for the canine units.
Yes, of course, it's on my to-do list.
Fantastic. Okay, if there's no other questions, again, I'll repeat myself. The last item on the agenda is any related items. Does anybody have anything to bring to the table? If nobody has anything, we will see all of you on Thursday night. Okay, thank you very
everybody.
much.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you.
You take care.
You too.